Hey guys, welcome. It's Final RPG here. Now I want to go over something that I had mentioned during my Secrets and Fun Facts video of Kingdom Hearts 1. It was something that you guys were really taken by and you guys really liked, so I'm making this video here and now. What I do want to mention though is that a lot of these people that have been out here and do know about this theory or fact about these books have all mentioned it, but they always think that this thing or these names from the books that come from Hollow Bastion don't really matter at all. But if you were to sit here like me, like the crazy man that I am, taking 6 hours to do translations of 3 different languages, revert their names and simplify them, they really do make a lot of sense. And not only do they make a lot of sense, they also are actually color-coded, which is even crazier. So there you go, and here it is. But before I go into any of this, I want to talk about something that has been told about in the community for a very long while now, which is the Deadly Sins theory and the foretellers. This is just a refresher. It's not that I'm going to go into it. I just want to remember the fact that this is not only just a theory, it's pretty much just factual at this point, because the names of the foretellers link with the Deadly Sins, which is Ira being wrath, Gula being gluttony, Aced being sloth, Envy being envy, Ava being greed, Luxu being lust, and then obviously the Master of Masters would be pride, acting as Superbia. But now going into this theory, what I want to talk about is the books that you pick up here in Hollow Bastion are Saleg, and this one is correlated to Ira. The definition of what Saleg means comes from Saleh, which is an Arabic prophet in ancient history, and from this point starting forward, Ira becomes the new foreteller's leader, and the Master of Master leaves at this point. But now, I am going to put Ira, the books, and the definition all together to show you where I'm going with this and what I'm trying to show and depict here. But moving forward onto the next foreteller here, I want to talk not so much about the name, I want to talk about the definition and what goes on in back cover. The word Nara comes from a girl's name, and forgive that fact, but it means light. And what Aced does within back cover, he wants to find out the traitor so bad, he just wants the darkness to go away because he wants light to prevail. He even goes as far as taking on Envy, Gula, and Ava, and it takes the 3 of them for Aced to even retreat and go to Ira to talk to him about it and talk about who the traitor is, because he ends up thinking that it is Gula. Not only just this, I want to go over the fact that Aced, even in times of dying, he is pretty much willing to sacrifice anything to let light prevail. And I don't know, I just feel like as much as this is a small one, it is just very straightforward and just self-explanatory overall. But here is Aced, the books of Nara, and the meaning of what Nara means. Going into the next foreteller though, which is Envy, and her book correlation is called Hafet. And Hafet comes from German, and the German word is called Hafen. And Hafen means law, meaning in English. And the Master of Masters ends up giving her the role to be lawfully watching over Ira, the other foretellers, and, well, the other unions. She watches over all of them and even tells Aced later on when they get into a fight that her role is to lawfully watch over all of these things. And even again, if this is a short one, here are the side-by-side comparisons. Her purple robe, the purple books, and even the meaning of her being lawful. Going on to Gula though, again, which is another short one, coming from the book of Azel, and Azel is meaning the word noble. But not only does this not make a whole lot of sense, because you would think Aced would be noble enough to take on everybody else and leave himself by his lonesome, and you could switch the two between light and noble, But what is noble about Gula during back cover is that he takes on the burden of having only one page left that everybody else doesn't have in the Book of Prophecies in their own books. He even goes as far as hiding it, and even lies during the times of desperate desires of finding out who the traitor is. So he ends up hiding himself away, and he needs to just let things simmer down, and he can try to do the best way that he can. Here are Gula, the books, and the word of being noble all together. Again, Aesed and Gulas are very interchangeable, and you can look at them either way if you really wanted to. But going on to Ava over here, which is probably the least interesting one out of the group, and I don't mean that by character, I just mean it by text, is the word Mava. And Mava comes from Hebrew, meaning a pleasant girl to look at or to spend time with. And how I can correlate this to anything that comes from back cover or Union Cross is that Ephmer goes to visit Ava pretty often and tell her to cheer up and to think about, her role and what she's doing is only for the greater good. And not only does Ephmer go and do this, so does the player character in Union Cross, along with Ephmer going to the tower, meeting and going to talk to Ava about what's going on for the future ahead of the world of Daybreak Town. And this is Ava along with her book and the meaning and definition that I have for the word Mava. But not only just this, I want to point out this book is green, but the spines on the book are actually pink. And last but not least, here we have Lushu out of the Foretellers. And man, can I just tell you, this one was really, really hard to find. I literally needed to look this up through a DuckDuckGo engine because there's actually no other way to find it through Google. And yeah, it took like 2 hours or something like that. I cannot pronounce this for the life of me, so forgive me. Here's the book that Sora picks up, and the color of it is red. But there is no color correlation between Lushu and the book, obviously, because he wears a black coat. And we don't know what he looks like besides other than the fact that, well, he turns into different people. And not only just that, it means to endure, have patience, everything else of bearing. And, well, what does Lushu do during back cover? He takes the Gazing Eye, no name Keyblade, and then he also takes the Black Box, wherever that was too, and he ends up dragging it along and goes on for, I don't know, maybe eons or something of that sort, and switches bodies, and he's bearing the fact that he's alone this entire time. And that's pretty much it. Here are the books, Lushu, and the little text that I have here of the word. Lastly though, the one above all, the Master of Masters. This one is super duper straightforward. It comes from Theon, which is here, and the book that Sora picks up. It is brown. Again, doesn't really have a color correlation. But what the word Theon means is basically the god of gods correlated to, well, it's self-explanatory, Master of Masters. Literally, if you look this up in almost any other language, whether it's Greek, Hebrew, Latin, they all just mean God in some sort of variation. I like the one that comes from the God of the Gods, which I'm pretty sure this one is the Latin one, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty much all there is to the color correlation, to the character, to the words, and they have been sitting here all along. One thing that I do want to mention though, and I understand this may sound like a joke to the rest of you, but honestly, you never know what this man will pull. Master of Masters goes as far as telling us that his name is fucking Theodore, or Jack. And Theo, if you shorten Theodore, is literally God. So take that as a grain of salt for what you will. Laugh at it, I don't care. I thought it was pretty funny myself. That's pretty much all I have for all the book correlations and everything of that sort. If you want me to do another theory, I am a firm believer on the entire Sora thing. But I probably have a lot of other instances, more so than a lot of people have put out on YouTube, of why Sora is the Master of Masters, and I could probably collect it all if I wanted to. But I'm still working on my 358 over 2 days video, and I still need to work on that. There's so many chapters, I have to save so many pages. There's just a lot to talk about in that manga. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this theory or liked a lot of what this was surrounding, whether it was about biblical figures or just other languages and the correlation, or just literally how long and how crazy this man, Nomura, just puts things into his damn games and then puts it out for later to see for the future. This guy, he's just amazing. He's just amazing. Other than that, all I have to say is final out, guys, and love y'all. Stay safe. All good. Peace out.